What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Once again, today we are going to be discussing the WNBA, and most specifically, the rookies of the WNBA. I'll have to admit, this week, the discourse around the WNBA and around the drama surrounding the rookie class and Caitlin Clark has gotten a little absurd. So I wanted today to focus on the rankings that just came out on ESPN, ranking this rookie class. And you might be surprised or might not be surprised to find that Caitlin Clark fell to number 6 on this ESPN ranking, which claims to be by the stats. We are going to break it all down today. And I also wanted to take a look at what Coach Gino, head coach at UConn, one of the most winningest coaches in women's basketball history, also had to say about Caitlin Clark. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive into it. Before we jump into these rankings, I wanted to take a quick look at this interview that Gino did on the Dan Patrick Show. Here is what he had to say.
I saw where you said the WNBA, they're targeting Caitlin Clark. What do you mean by how she's being guarded or, enforced?
I think you and I both know the landscape that we live in today, both sports-wise and non-sports-wise, right? We are in a red, blue. And if you're red, you can't agree with blue. And if you're blue, you can't agree with red.
I will agree that the topics surrounding the WNBA for some reason have become so polarizing, and there really are two ends of the spectrum when we're talking about specifically Caitlin Clark and her effect on the WNBA. There are so many people on the other side of the spectrum saying that she is not the reason why the WNBA has seen the success that they have seen. And to me, that just does not seem logical at all, but he's really right here. And I feel like this happens on so many different topics in the United States. We love to make things political when they don't have to be. We like to make things about race when they don't have to be. And so I think that he's right here. A lot of things have become polarizing. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark, who's someone who goes out and hoops and doesn't say much in the media, has also become polarizing. So let's move on.
If you're a college player and you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. So the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
I would agree with him in a sense that a lot of new fans were not knowledgeable about how good WNBA players are, simply because there have not been that many people watching the WNBA, and a lot of people now are watching the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark. However, I don't think that people are meaning to be disrespectful in a sense. Yes, there is a bit of delusion. I mean, there were people having arguments online of if Caitlin Clark could play in the NBA, and anybody who understands sports in any capacity understands that Caitlin Clark would never be successful in the NBA. She is simply not good enough. But I do agree with him in a sense that that level of delusion has made people think that her averaging 15 to 17 points a game in her first 10 games in the WNBA is somehow not great, is somehow her having a rough start, which we had our expectations, and not me specifically, but a lot of people had their expectations as, oh, she's going to go in, she's going to score 30 points a game, and also did not realize that rookies who are drafted specifically, and most importantly, number one, don't go to good teams. If we could talk about the NBA, Wemby, who was projected to be like the next LeBron James, the next massive superstar in the NBA, went to the Spurs, who I believe were the second worst team in the WNBA this season. And he did not change much of that. His stat lines were incredible. He made a defensive all team, but Wemby did not elevate his team so much to the fact that they became a winning franchise. There's not been many people in history who have been able to do that their first year in the league. And so I feel like that is where the delusion has come in with fans, but I wouldn't belittle new fans for that because these are, again, new fans to basketball. We should be welcoming in the new fans. We shouldn't be saying, oh, you guys are disrespectful, you know nothing, this, not. People are watching. There's a little bit more that I want you guys to see. I know I'm already ranting. I can't seem to help myself when it comes to this subject, but let's hear a little bit more from Gino.
So if you're a WNBA player, and believe me, I've coached the best, and I've pissed them off a lot, and they let me know about it. But they were tremendously disrespected. And none of them are going to say it. But human nature is, okay, this kid's coming into the league. And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. You know, Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement. Targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA. There's a huge target on this kid's back. I thought Cameron Brink said something really smart. She said, no, they're expecting this rookie class to be perfect. This rookie class isn't even one of the best rookie classes in the last 10 years. But they've been put out to be that because the way social media is today.
I disagree with the fact that he said her skill set is not right for the WNBA, because this same narrative was also said about Steph Curry until he really had his breakout season and found his groove. I actually think that Caitlin Clark's skill set will translate into a very long career, because what she is able to do with the ball and doesn't have to use her physicality in her game as much actually helps with her longevity. If you think about players like Kobe Bryant, like Steph Curry, who are able to play the game for a long time, they're not like, a Derrick Rose, a Ja Morant, a Russell Westbrook type of player that really relies on athleticism. And with that athleticism also leads a lot of times to being more injury prone. So I actually disagree with him in that sense. I do think that she will find her groove. And I do think, if not this season, in seasons to come, she will be putting up those same numbers as she did in college. The target and the pedestal that she was put on, and I think she was rightfully so put on that pedestal, because the WNBA, the media, the NBA has done absolutely the right thing by leading the charge using her and marketing her the most, because the stats have proven, the numbers have proven, the jersey sales have proven that she's the one everyone wants. Yes, there are other rookies in this class who are also very famous in their own right, also great players on the court, but Caitlin Clark is the main reason. She's the number one reason. When the Indiana Fever is selling out and having 17,000 people in the stands at those games, there are other arenas that have 7,000, 10,000 maybe, 3,000. The Chicago Sky, if you look at their attendance from last season to this season, even with Angel Reese being there, their attendance is the same as it was last season. I guess what I'm saying is she was put on a pedestal, rightfully so, for a reason. However, because she was put on that pedestal, and like Gino says, WNBA players feel disrespected that they're not getting the same amount of media attention and publicity as she is, she has become a target. So now let's look at ESPN's rankings of these rookies. Number 1, they have Cameron Brink. Number 2, Angel Reese. Number 3, Kate Martin, who, if you remember, was Caitlin Clark's teammate at Iowa. Number 4, Rickea Jackson. Number 5, Julie Van Loo. And number 6, Caitlin Clark. There's a very long soliloquy at the beginning of this article basically explaining why this guy Neil Payne ranked these women in the way that he ranked them. And he talks about win shares, estimated wins added from player efficiency ratings, simple player ratings, and box score plus minus style stats. I'm not going to go over all these numbers. This would be a super boring video. But what I did want to do is compare the statistics of Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, and the number 7 pick in the WNBA, Angel Reese. Number 1 pick in the WNBA draft this year, Caitlin Clark. She is averaging 15.6 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 6.4 assists, and 1.3 steals per game. She is also averaging 1 block, which I thought was pretty interesting because a lot of people said that she would struggle on the defensive end, and she's a guard. Guards don't normally rack up that many blocks. Her field goal percentage is 35.7%, and her 3-point percentage is 29.7%. One other thing to note, she is averaging 5.4 turnovers a game, which is the one stat that a lot of people who is saying that Caitlin Clark isn't performing well, that's the stat they're holding on to. The number 2 pick this year, Cameron Brink, who is at the top of ESPN's list, she is averaging 8 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists, and 1 steal. She is averaging 2.6 blocks per game, which Cameron Brink, a big part about her game is her defensive skills. She looks great on the defensive end. She is shooting 44.8% from field goal, 35% from 3-point, which is really impressive. She is averaging 2.5 turnovers per game. Now let's move on to Angel Reese, who was 7th in the draft, but she is number 2 on ESPN's list. Angel is averaging 10.9 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists, and 1.1 steals per game. She's averaging 0.1 blocks. She's averaging 2 turnovers a game. She's shooting 33.8% from field goal, 0% from 3-point range, and 70% from the free throw line. Also, Cameron Brink's shooting 80% from the free throw line, and Caitlin Clark is shooting 89.6% from the free throw line. Also, between these 3 rookies, Caitlin Clark is the only one who is getting face guarded 94 feet, who is getting double teamed, who has box and ones ran on her. So yes, while I think that all of these girls are doing pretty well in their rookie debuts, considering the pedestal that we had them on, I think that this ESPN ranking is absolutely crazy. But you guys let me know in the comments below, did you think that this rookie ranking was accurate? Or do you think that it was written to, get some more engagement, to get people talking about it, people like me? And also, what did you think about Gino's comments? Do you think he's right in saying that some of Caitlin Clark's fans might be a little delusional, and we have actually, the people who love Caitlin have actually put a target on her back and were the reason for all this extra hate and whatnot that she's getting? You guys let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for being here. To all my new subscribers, welcome. I hope you stay a little while. And yeah, that's about all I got. See you guys next time. Ooh, yeah, nah.